It has been a very interesting day, and it is not an end yet. Let's go back to the international scene. Elina Multanen, General Manager of Finnish UN Women. She's presenting to us the publication Progress of the World's Women 2015-16, Transforming Economies.
And as we are around 45 minutes late, I actually will do it even shorter than in 10 minutes. You have all been given summaries of the actual report. The actual report, which is actually the seventh in the series of UN Women's Progress reports, the kind of flagship reports that UN Women produces every 2 years. The summary of it is here available, and I encourage you to familiarize yourself with it and also with the actual report, which is very, very comprehensive report. It's actually addressing all these topics and themes that we've been discussing today, ranging from the macroeconomic policy framework to the public services, social policy actions, etc. So it's a very, very good report, and I unfortunately will not be able to do justice to the report with this very short time span. But I'll probably just very briefly give as the report is very comprehensive, like I said, it's worth reading with good statistics, but it also sets out 10 priorities for public policy actions. And I will just very briefly go through them, and as we don't really have time to discuss them properly now, then I believe that it's actually just the best way to do it now. The first one of these public policy actions is the importance of creating more and better jobs for women, the issue that we also been discussing here a lot. And this is also very much to do with the macroeconomic policies, that creating the kind of macroeconomic policies that stimulate economic activity and increases demand for labor, rather than focusing on overly narrow set of targets, such as maintaining inflation at a very low levels. This is the very typical monetary and fiscal policy as we normally see it, but there are alternatives in this. Also, how to invest in public services in a better manner to create decent jobs in health, education, child and elderly care. Like discussed today, investing in transport and other infrastructure, access to markets, training and subsidized credit. Secondly, to reduce occupational segregation and gender pay gaps. Importantly, in this also promoting education, also providing careers advice for young women and encouraging them to study also the topics that are not normally very much populated by women, science, technology, engineering, mathematics, etc., etc. Here also, very important topic that we all know, but we don't unfortunately have much time to discuss it at this event, is the addressing the very pervasive sexual harassment and violence in the workplace. Thirdly, to strengthen women's income security throughout the life cycle, access to sufficient unemployment protection, well-designed minimum wage policies, child allowances, contributory pensions, etc., are the very important actions in this. Fourthly, to recognize, reduce and redistribute unpaid care and domestic work. This is something that we discussed very much today here already. We know the importance of that. Strengthening basic social services, providing support to unpaid caregivers, etc. Comprehensive paid leave systems. These are the actions. Fifthly, to invest in gender-responsive social services. Also increasing investments in public services, ensuring their affordability by replacing user fees with collective forms of financing, universal access to affordable healthcare, And again, integrating services to address violence against women, and as well as comprehensive sexual and reproductive health services, care services for children and dependent adults. The sixth public policy action is to maximize resources for the achievement of substantive equality. The seventh, the importance to provide sufficient support to women's organizations, also including funding. As we know, this is always such a difficult task to accomplish, how actually to provide sufficient funding for women's organizations, to engage them in policy advocacy, and how to ensure that women are equally represented in leadership positions in trade unions, other social movements, etc. And the last ones, the eighth, to create and enable global environment for the realization of women's rights, using human rights standards to shape policies, and the need for much better data evidence to generate evidence to assess how we progress in this field on women's and economic and social rights. Sorry about running this through, but as we were so much behind, I thought this was the best solution. Thank you.